What's up guys, TechLab here, and today we're going to find out what happens when you pair two of the worst components of 2022 together and try to game on them. So we've finally moved on with our components, and we recently managed to pick up our first 12th gen motherboard, and while we were looking for a CPU to pair with it, we found this. This is an Intel Celeron G6900 and it was released in January 2022. It's a 2-core 2-thread processor with a base clock speed of 3.4 GHz, and we have no real idea what they're used for nowadays. Older models we have used in the past have just simply not been fast enough for gaming, and they're really lacking when it comes to productivity. But when we saw this for just £40, we thought, why not give it a go? Accompanying this baby CPU for today's video is the AMD Radeon RX 6500 XT, a graphics card that was kneecapped by AMD before it even had a chance. Released at the same time as the Celeron processor, it was AMD's answer to the GPU crisis for budget gamers, except they forgot the budget price. When it was released, it was instantly vilified by reviewers and gamers alike due to the cutbacks that AMD made, and AMD themselves even had to compare it to a 5-year-old card in their official benchmarks, which was never a good sign to start off with. Now, we've looked at the RX 6500 XT before on the channel, and it wasn't actually that terrible. But we thought it would make a decent pairing with the Celeron processor because it just felt right. To test this combination, we set it against our standard list of games to benchmark. This is mainly made up of newer titles and should push both the GPU and the CPU, and we'll think you'll be surprised at the results. So let's roll those benchmarks. Now those results were way better than we expected. How could this baby of a Celeron processor perform so well, especially when considering we got very similar average frames per second against our normal benchmarking system, which contains an i5-10400F. A much stronger CPU with many more cores and many more threads, but it actually managed to overtake it in some of the games. But obviously, not everything is down to average FPS. When we actually look at the 1% lows, the G6900 shows its limitations. And specifically when we come to some of the loading times on the games, we were kind of waiting for quite a while. Now there is some hope for this little CPU because when we actually limited our frames per second to 60 in most of those titles, the 1% lows actually improved greatly. Trying to not take away from the components themselves, we do need to recognise a hero from our benching, and that is Doom Eternal. No matter what we did within that game, it actually performed super well on both of these, which really shows that the developers of Doom know what they're doing. Now, if you are looking for a super budget system in 2022, particularly after we came out of a GPU crisis where not many things were affordable, you could get away with something like this, particularly if the types of games you're going to play are things like Doom. This combination actually works quite well, and if you were to sacrifice some of the visuals, you would be able to get them to perform even better. But let us know in the comments what you think of this kind of combination. Is it something that you would consider if you're on a super tight budget, particularly if you do have a 12th gen board that this works perfectly fine in? You have a lot of room to upgrade, especially with the fact that they will support the next generation too. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this. Drop the video a like so we know to do more, and we'll catch you in the next one.